I'm searching for meaning in every turn. Take your, give me the space that I need, or save me. No, I'm letting go.
Welcome back. This is the Hip Hop Seattle Podcast. We're on episode 25. It's your boy Cal Nadi.
It's your boy Mr. High Def, Henry 100K.
We got a very special guest today.
Very special guest.
TeZATalks. What's up,
TeZATalks
y'all?
in the building.
A round of applause.
Man.
Thanks
Round
for
of
having
applause.
me.
Thank you for making it through, man.
Of course.
Out here killing the game for a while. Very inspiring. And I feel like a lot of people are tapped into what you're doing now. And I feel like people who had their eye on you are definitely now being vocal, like, you know, especially with this new release that we're going to speak about. So first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, that's a huge accomplishment. And I feel like putting out a project is like almost like a weight off your shoulders. And
it's having a baby.
Exactly. Yeah. And just putting it into the world's hands to just take it however, you know. Yeah. So that's really awesome. So did you get a chance to tap in a little bit to the, you know, any of the singles off the new project?
I gave it a little bit of a spin yesterday. I can't remember the title of it. I think it was the third track.
The second one?
Yeah. Second and third track. I think it's the second track.
Okay.
Or you're digging the sound and the mixing, mastering, how does
yeah.
it feel like?
I've been tapped into your music for a few years now, and I kind of seen the growth, and I kind of seen not seen, but what I want to say is I'm impressed on how you're able to execute the ideas that you have in the way that you do them. They always come out very beautiful, very eloquent.
Yeah.
Like you're giving a piece of your soul into the music, and that's always what I look for when I listen to music. It's like I'm getting a little bit of the artist. And in your new project, you kind of elevated that even more. Your songwriting is really, really good. I feel like you're underrated in those regards.
Man, thank you.
To get a record was real.
Yeah, and I look forward to how your year pans out because, as you said, more people are tapped in, and I just would love to hear what you can do with other artists because I already know, like, you're fantastic yourself, and just kind of, like, can only imagine what you and another really talented artist could bring out.
And she does though. Like shout out to Steven Alter.
Most def.
The production on the album incredible, and you guys have a history of great records that, you know, especially if you look on Spotify, people are really tapped in. If you haven't taken a chance to, you know, if you heard the name, maybe seen her on a flyer or something, you should definitely check her stuff out because it's definitely different and it's pushing the envelope on you know, I feel like genre blending in a lot.
That's the biggest
just everything,
thing.
you know.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't literally put you in one category. I don't even know, like,
good.
You know, which is great. And I feel like, you know, so that's we see that. So but we're gonna get into that in a moment. Cal, we got actually one question. Are you into comedy?
No. I'm not.
Do you like to laugh?
I do like to laugh. I have a sick like sense of humor though, so yeah. That's the only thing. Like if someone gets hurt, I think I laugh at the more like discomfort of their pain more so.
There's a lot of different comedy and a lot of different comics that offer different things. I feel like you would fuck with certain shit. Like, I mean,
you can put me on.
What's the newest shit right now, Cal? That's on the airwaves right now.
We had that Dave Chappelle special.
That
Sticks
damn
and Stones.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Sticks and Stones. Do you hear anything about that? The new one?
I've heard so many opinions and perspectives about that.
Good, bad.
Yeah. I don't think it's a matter of good or bad. I think it's a matter of recognizing that he's bringing an awareness to the table that maybe it's not that funny, but it's that funny because like it's the truth. So shout out to him for everything that he's doing, that he's been doing for years to come. So I can't ignore it. The fact that I haven't even seen it, but yet somehow I feel connected to the special that he did. I mean, that says something alone right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you catch it?
No, I've only seen people articles and reactions to it. I've been combing the internet. I've refused to get a Netflix account. Nobody wants to give me their password, so
you can have mine.
Appreciate
it.
Man,
you gotta check it out. I actually checked it out.
Okay.
And I actually I watched I was half asleep the first time, so I missed I missed the second half.
Yeah.
But I watched it again. Anyways, like, yeah, it's Dave Chappelle being Dave Chappelle. But he definitely brought a whole different, like,
I think one of the lines that somebody put in the headlines was he said, "What's the point of school drills? Because all you're doing is showing the school shooters
How to navigate.
the schools." And I was like,
And that has the like when he says those kind of jokes, like it's an awkward laugh, whatever, but people laugh.
'Cause it
But
makes
then
you
they
think.
pan the camera at the crowd, and you can kind of see people kind of uneasy.
uncomfortable.
But Dave does it in such a great way, and he's just a genius behind it that you're not directly offended. But there are people that are, and he actually spoke on that too. I'm not even going to give away the whole thing, but I will say it's very controversial. And if you have kind of thin skin, if you can't really like, you're gonna have to go into it objectively and let him finish his segment before like you know. Create your opinion at the very end instead of because he kind of brings it back around. But I don't know. He definitely is going to ruffle some feathers. So
it's a detriment to yourself when you take information around you and you let your own emotions distort what that message is. You will get more from something, whatever that is, music, video, film, if you're willing to look at it objectively, like you mentioned, and just try to understand what the point of it is. And then you go ahead and feel whatever you want to feel about it. But too often people get outraged at the mere thought.
Speech, man. Sometimes it is what it is though.
But a lot of comedy when we were growing up was, you could say, borderline hate, borderline racist, but we still found humor in it because there's truth in a lot of things. I mean, we can sugarcoat everything in 2019, but the world isn't perfect. We're not at that point where we can refer to things as they're all in the past. So, just try to do your best to, if you're gonna intake information, just don't try to distort the message or put your own information into your own.
You can't take it so seriously at a comedy show too, because that's not their goal.
Why are you at a comedy show?
You asked for it.
You asked for that. You know what I mean? So, to a certain degree, you got to respect the artist's art too, because that's literally what they do.
I went to Donald Rawlings. You know Donald Rawlings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at one of his shows way back, and he actually started roasting me.
Damn.
Cause I was like half asleep, like head down.
What did he say?
He said, he just like commenting on what I was wearing, but it was the fact that, and I found enjoyment too. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, Donald, okay.
There you go.
I was ready for it. So it's kind of, I don't understand people in that same situation. You get offended. You see
some
people get
go
pulled out of the comedy rooms.
Some people are bad at like. There's some comedians that go crazy hard on them. Though.
That's true.
Like the Andrew Schultz and all those guys.
Corey Holcomb too.
D.L. Hughley. He used to really
D.L.
just
be
have
going
you feeling
in.
really sad, like fucking things up for you at the house type shit.
Yeah.
But anyways,
that's funny.
Neither here nor there. But yeah, so Dave Chappelle, and then Kevin Hart got into some shit. You know a lot about it. Did you check that out?
Didn't
Like, what
he
happened?
recently have an accident?
That's what I'm saying.
Car
You know
accident.
about like
allegedly. Nothing's been.
He wasn't driving though. Someone else was apparently driving.
Allegedly,
right?
those 3 people in the car, gentleman, another lady, and himself. There's different stories recounting that who was the driver. Some say that they saw him get pulled out of the driver's seat. Some say that he was taken out of the passenger. So it's all a little cloudy. But the weird thing about that is his security took him from the accident home, and his wife, I believe, had to call the paramedics to his house. So that's just where things get a little murky.
It's like, why?
Exactly. What was going on where you felt
Something
you had
you had to go home.
You had to
first,
evade, yeah,
and not the hospital.
and they commented that his spine or something's really fucked up. So it was a
hope not,
obvious
man. God
injury
bless you.
to him. Yeah, so,
That's crazy.
Hopefully he recovers ASAP, as soon as possible, and I think he is recovering. He's
Man, I hope he has a speedy recovery. That sounds crazy, man. I heard about it, but it kind of ran under my radar. I didn't really realize the severity of it. But
Speaking of Kevin Hart, since we're actually on that topic, how do y'all feel about artists that are more of a combination than just themselves? So, for example, Drake, we all know Drake has a team behind him that helps produce, helps to write the songs, get the ideas. He bounces off ideas around people, as most artists do themselves. Do you feel that takes away from an artist's legacy? Because a lot of comics have issue with Kevin Hart, feeling like he shouldn't be as big or revered as he is because he's not the ones coming with the jokes. And they feel bitter because they're the ones having to come up with their own material, having to tour, hit all these venues, and they don't get any of the love as he does. And they know maybe like 10-20% of that entire thing was him. How do you take that in consideration in putting somebody on the level of another artist?
I mean, I think we're all trying to reach success, right? How that looks like is up to us. But there definitely comes a point where you just can't do it all. And the art of being an artist gets questioned of whether or not you're going to be a product or you're going to remain an artist. And I think Kevin just saw an opportunity to monopolize in becoming a product so that his brand could, you know, be exploited in a way to where it's just beyond him. And that takes having multiple people with multiple opinions. I don't know if it's a question of art anymore. I think it's a question of entertainment. And
Yeah,
that's
I like
what,
that.
you know,
It's a
we should probably
businessman,
talk
you know?
about.
Yeah.
It's
The
a
production
business
company
move.
and all that.
Yeah.
I think he's greater. I think he's now beyond. Like, he's not beyond comedy, obviously, because that's like literally the engine of everything that he's doing. Pretty much, you know, he can't ever really leave the basis. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like at this point, with him having like he has his own shoe and shit now. Like, he has
Yeah.
a lot of different
Wow.
shit. He has ventured into a lot of different lanes, and even the movies he's doing has gone from like what Soul Plane to, you know, fucking
Jumanji too.
Yeah, and if you
Jumanji
think
2
about
with
it,
The
it's
Rock.
Kevin Hart playing Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart
Yeah.
in all these movies.
So it's not like he's playing a character, and I think that's where you gotta give Mans his credit, because not a lot of people get inserted into different realms of art as themselves.
And they don't go that long. They'll do a couple films, but
Mhm.
Kevin's done several films
Yeah.
with the same character. He had the same character in what's it called? Even the 40-year-old virgin, where he had that literally that 30-second clip that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
But he was in that, and that was the same character though. He's
Mhm.
run that for, you know. So it's like, I mean, salute to that. But I feel like we're kind of speaking about this off camera about where do you draw the line? Because it's like I feel like the creativity and when he doesn't need to change shit. Obviously, we're not speaking ill on his business model, because obviously
at
he's
all.
on some shit that we can't comprehend just yet.
Yeah.
But to the people who have been tapped in with him for a long time, he has to switch it up to maintain that. I feel like if you're gonna get them, you know, he wants a bigger, you know, more successful brand, and he can keep doing this and stay, I feel like, at a plateau with it. But I feel like if he wants to go to that next stage, he's gonna have to do like what a lot of the greats did, and they made a shift, and then everything went a different way. I feel like, I don't know, like even with The Rock, I mean, doing wrestling and then turning over to movies, and then from the movies it becomes like he became a lot of different things when his mind was like, I don't know. I don't want to compare them like that. I just think that when people get that big sometimes, I mean, maybe the focus has to change, because now you have something bigger than anything it starts with comedy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now you have this huge fucking, like, you're the reason why people are, you know, paying their rent and they're paying their bills every month.
You
because
know
of your
who
company, like,
executed that in my opinion very well? It was Childish Gambino.
damn, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Donald
is
Glover.
somebody
Killed
who individually, no matter what artistic endeavor he takes, it's like very specific, strategic, and it's fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, it's brilliant work. So if
Wow,
if
that's
there's anything that people can look at as a way to evolve their craft or their brand, I would definitely look at him and see how he moves. And I think that just comes with, he did everything in its own time. You know, he was doing the acting, he was doing the music, and it wasn't all like at once.
Right.
And so when you do things like that, you can really give it the space that it needs in order to thrive
True.
and be the most successful it can be.
Yeah.
Like a Jamie Foxx, another person too.
Oh, yep.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very rare where you see somebody doing something at the top of the top. Like, he's in movies with Tom Cruise, and you know, it's just crazy how they can do that. But
Lion
that,
King voice acting.
Yeah.
you don't see that from every actor that comes into the game or every whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It happens every couple, you know, maybe every like a couple of
Couple of
decades.
generation,
Yeah, a couple of generations that you'll have these, you know, anomalies that come around and just kill it, you know. So
and they can still keep their artistic integrity
mhm.
Yep.
and be
Very
everywhere.
true.
Yeah.
So that's cool though. I mean, like, anyway, let's, we can switch it up though. Like, honestly, this new project you got out right now, like, tell us a little bit about the creative process. How long did this one take? Was this something that you kind of had in mind before and you worked towards, or is it one of these things where you just were making music organically and it culminated into this great project?
I would like it to be that easy, right? But we dropped The Chaos, which was the first project. And I always have been one of intention of telling the whole story, start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And so Parts of Chaos was definitely something that was planned. But in what to say that I was parting from in the chaos was more so me having to go out and having to live my life. And that's the thing about this music. It's always so weird when I connect with people about it, because I'm like, oh, you feel this way. Like, this was really real for me. So I don't even know how to really talk about it, because I'm letting you into my like therapy sessions. So over the course of the last 2.5 years, the project really came together. And then there was a moment when I was finally able to get outside of myself and record these records, and be encouraged to feel good about it becoming the catalog of work that it is now. Like, that's why everything's so different, and so genre blending, as you put it so well earlier.
I feel it.
Yeah,
that's
nothing is the
definitely
same.
crazy. That's dope, though. So how many years how many years have you put into this, you think, total, if you count just finally releasing music, or just, putting yourself out there as like, I'm an artist now, pushing myself?
This shit's my life's work.
Life's work.
Yeah, this is my life's work.
Elaborate on that, like, everything that you did came to this, like, kind of what you saying?
Strategically, like I said, I'm telling stories. So there's a lot of information that people don't know in regards to TeZATalks. TeZATalks was created as a narrative for me to be able to feel comfortable about talking about my pain, because I don't know how to do that as TeZA, as weird as that may sound. I feel like I am a superhero as TeZATalks, and the stories that I've left you, or left audiences with now, with A Part to Chaos, is the meat and potatoes of the beginning, but we're not even in the middle of the story yet. Because where I'm at now, it's a very beautiful place of like solitude and peace, and I don't think that has been reflected in the music yet. I feel like the chaos is exactly what it is, especially in the sonics and how it's come together with us moving in different areas and traveling and not always agreeing on things, but that has echoed for others to kind of confront those monsters in their lives. And I'm realizing that now, in the power of like my words. And I mean, for every artist that does that, music is so powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
Controls the world.
Yeah, it really is. Biggest influence. So yeah, I would say that that's where we're kind of at. We're in those beginning chapters of the whole story.
That's dope. What record right now do you feel like your fans and supporters are really behind right now, or giving you the most praise about? At the moment, because I know it's going to change. People change their favorites.
Probably Villains, which is interesting, because I'm posing the question, are you a villain or God? But really, I'm saying that it exists in all of us, both of its duality.
Right.
And it's just a matter of which one you're feeding at the time. They talk about which wolf are you feeding. So I'm just saying, which one are you trying to bring at the forefront of your life? Is it this villain where not necessarily you do bad? You could be seen as someone who just wears a mask to get your point across, or you could be seen as a god where even ego comes into play, and you're just trying to overrule everything that comes and combats whatever you believe in. So it really is up to the listener.
That's dope.
Wow. So did Steven produce this entire project?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
great.
he did.
And
yes,
you did some leading up singles with Creeps too, as well.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
You
We
guys had
got
a
some others in the back too.
You had like a 3-piece EP you guys dropped. That was really dope. That was this
with
year,
Creeps and
correct? Yes. Was that this year, or was that
kind of? It's not really all the way out yet. We did.
It's like a YouTube. I feel like you guys put out 3 songs and kind of.
We put out My
packaged it.
Own Thing, 4th season, and then there's another record that we haven't gotten to yet, but it's coming.
Okay,
Because
dope.
you were in and out of the studio when we were doing it. So
Okay, I was
totally
like, man,
get
that
why
shit is
it would-
like,
yeah,
that shit's dope.
Yeah, shout out to Coos, man. Like
out to
that's
Coos, for real.
that is somebody in this city that really brings vision and life to people that I don't think actually saw it in themselves first. And that's someone that we can't lose in the city. And
that's another multifaceted person that does everything.
Yeah, Mercy Miller.
Mercy Miller, that new Mercy.
Yeah,
That's just
man.
crazy, man. So salute to Creeps, salute to Steven as well. And yeah, that project's going crazy. So like on Spotify, it's on all platforms. You
Yes,
got
it is.
some visuals you want to talk about?
I do. I partnered with Glass Creek Productions. They're based out of LA. They shot the Villains video. Had about, goodness, a crew of like 16 people
Shit.
come out on their own volition to be a part of it. And it was my first like major music video set where I just got to see everything get brought to life. Like there was a script, all of that. It was wild. So yeah, it's up now.
So this is something that you cooked and devised in your brain, and this is these 16 people came together.
Oh no. So let me tell you how the universe and alignment works.
Okay, break it down.
Austin is a fan, the guy who owns Glass Creek Productions. He was a fan of the music years prior, and he finally reached out to me and was like, "Yo, where's your visuals at?" And I was like, "I make music in a basement with my friends. Like, there is nothing here that is gonna allow us to do this unless you say less." So he was like, "If you get out here, I think we can put something together for you." And he introduced me to a girl by the name of Sparks, and she's fantastic as well, a great creative director. And I got there, and they had a whole plot line of how we would shoot. We shot in 3 different rooms in this huge building in LA, and that's when I met Lainey, who does makeup, and he really brought his team together because he shoots short films.
Okay.
And so it was all the family that was from previous projects that he had done that was just interested and willing to be a part of it. So that's love, like.
Yeah, that's real.
And they did it on their own time, you know. So I'm appreciative of all of that.
You can get people like that's what we were talking about earlier, Cafe. When people really, rock with your movement and rock with what you're doing beyond the music, like people are doing things like that. It's really a true testament to your character and how people believe in your vision.
And see, exactly, that's what it is, vision, right? Because that will continue on years down the line, even when you're gone. Like,
Very
you know,
true.
big person Mac, you know,
Absolutely.
rest in peace today. Like,
Rest in peace.
it feels like
statement.
his legacy and the energy that he has left in the world, like, is heard and felt today. Like, I felt like my day was like, Somebody
better. Started making music because of that.
Exactly.
It probably inspired somebody like, yo, I got to continue this in their own little way. Not even little way, in their own way that his, music and his aura, whatever inspired them. They feel like, yo, I got to like continue this because it inspired me. So I got to continue that inspiration for me to continue going too. So, and it's great to find it within yourself. You know what I mean? So
the thing about it.
It's crazy, man. So, yeah. Cal, you want to talk about, so we're talking about the different genres now because we're trying to describe to Asher actually what different genres you kind of like dip into or your style, whatever.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned AfroPunk, so I wanted you to kind of talk about that a little bit.
So okay, it's interesting that you bring that up because when I did Blake Anthony's release party this past Friday, I had these 3 girls come up to me and they were like, "Yo, what genre of music are you?" And I was like, AfroPunk.
There you go.
And like it just felt like it was right to say.
Yeah.
AfroPunk is an incredible platform for those that may not know that allows artists of color to really be seen in genres that they might not necessarily be understood in at first or may not be heard in at all. And they have a festival every year that really showcases that super well. But one aspect of music that I really love genre-wise is punk and rock.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm at. Like,
you like
we were
grunge
moshing.
too?
Oh yeah, we were
course.
moshing at that show. That was like the biggest mosh pit I've seen. Shit was so lit.
Crazy as hell, man. So it was Blake Anthony, it was Creeps, it was you, and
Sean Brooks.
And
Vitamin D, man.
Yeah.
That's
Legend.
Man,
Legend.
Legend.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was a
Damn.
beautiful night where Seattle met Tacoma. It was just one of those moments that was so pivotal to the history of the Seattle music scene because it's too often that we're not all in the same room together.
Very true.
Like what y'all do is just another way and platform for artists to come together and be seen and heard. Like, it's important. It's mad important. So
absolutely,
yeah.
We appreciate that too. And it's like, what was I gonna say as far as that goes? Oh yeah, so I was gonna ask you. So when you're talking about the demographic, or actually, I'm gonna bring this up now. Where do you feel like you're accepted in? Do you feel like the lanes that you decide to go in? Do you feel like you're accepted in them? Do you feel any resistance? Do you feel like I'm not accepted here because of maybe they accept this about me, but they don't like this? Do you feel like they're categoririzing you? How do you feel about that?
So 100.
Keep it 1,000 right now.
I don't even pay attention to that shit because my thing is I'm not looking for acceptance. If anything, I would like to be understood. And I know that comes in people's own time. I can't force that upon anybody, but I know that if I'm being authentic in who I am, it's inevitable that eventually,
very true,
you're gonna see where I'm coming from or hear it. And there's too many. My dad always used to say this to me: argue for your limitations, and surely you'll have them. So I just don't even allow that to come into my space of thinking, and I try to encourage other artists as well that are close to me or work with me to not think the same way, because it is so clear the path that you are supposed to pursue once you know it.
Yeah, you see it.
Okay. Do you feel like you have a hip hop audience that fucks with what you do too?
Shit, I hope so.
Like-
I hope so. I don't consider myself a rapper, more so than I consider myself a lyricist.
Mm-hmm.
I did do the Seattle Cypher with Chase Fade and them, and that was an experience, man. Shout out to Mr. Hentai.
There you go.
Yeah, he killed that.
yeah.
He did. And I just literally did that in the hopes for where my intentions lie, that more female artists would feel empowered to insert themselves in rooms that are mostly dominated by men.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and I was like, I'll take the hit first. Like, come on, you know.
Is there a hip hop influence to any, like, even if it's not of the music? Is there a hip hop influence in your life or how you do things musically at all, or do you feel like it's something that
Jay-Z was probably the first artist that really changed a lot for me. Then Kendrick and now currently where I'm at, it's my friends, man. I think that's the most dopest part. Like when I'm around like you, or when I'm around like Creeps or Balakai, goodness, I have so many talented. My brother McIntosh, like
shout out
I'm so
McIntosh, friend of the
lucky.
show.
I'm so lucky to be around y'all, because your minds are so expansive in the way that you deliver your message.
Mm-hmm.
So only I can take that as, how do I become more authentic in delivering that side of myself. And I'm a student in that regard.
Always a student in the game, for real. That's good to hear.
And we do have an incredible scene up here. There's so many talented people that I would say are underrated until they
pop,
cash out. Yeah, because
Underrated to who though, in the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? It's like your perception
as a listener of hip hop, as a person that grew up with music, I feel strongly saying that a lot of the stuff that comes out of Washington is probably some of the best music that I've heard in a long time.
Facts.
And I don't even have to.
Everybody sounds different. We always say that, but we gotta put a an exclamation mark on that. Like, everybody has their own shit. That
Musical identity, which is very important to me, because growing up, you had artists that you could tell what they were gonna bring before they even opened their mouth. You know what I mean? Jadakiss, you already know. Pusha T, you know, Yech was gonna come 3 seconds after he started saying something. So, for me, when I start seeing aspects of people here that have their identity so strong that as soon as a song turns on, I'm like, yes. You know what I'm saying?
Very
Like,
true.
all right.
You're excited.
You
might drop everything to listen if the new album came out. Word, all right.
exactly
I'm gonna do this later. Some
Yeah,
artists
I'm
have that
big on
effect on you.
energy.
I remember when it was just CDs, you'd go to the store to cop the CD because
You
that
wait
was
in line.
Yeah.
hell yeah. What the fuck? After school, just running home, get the bus off. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I did all that.
I
Harder
remember,
3.
I remember taking the bus all the way to Silver Platters in Seattle, just so me and my niggas could get Currency's Pilot Talk 1, and we were so geeked
Damn.
that we took a pose with the dude that ran the store, the little record label dude.
That's dope as
We're all
fuck.
like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
Pilot sucks. So,
Some real hip hop shit.
most there's a whole different aspect of music, the experience of buying music when you're actually there yourself, picking up the physical and looking through and looking at the back.
Oh yeah, breaking the seal and going through the credits. Yeah, man, that shit all
we were
relative.
talking about that earlier. That's the enjoyment of receiving a CD that you don't get anymore, is the fact that you got this little book.
Yeah.
You know, that would give you even more insight to the music that you were listening to.
Yeah.
And now with streaming,
You lose all
where,
that.
you know,
And you're
where's it
losing the
at?
quality
Yeah.
of the record too. You're losing the sound, the sonic, the
It's not
album,
as hot-
the
it's
CD
not-
always sound fucking really good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then, also Eminem CDs used to have his actual handwritten
Yes.
lyrics of his songs. So and you'd have the little scribbles where he messed up, or
Yeah.
that you don't even see that no more. So anyway,
That's why lifestyle is what is more looked at as the, peak of a brand. And I think it adds more pressure to artists because, I won't speak for all of us, but I don't know what I'm always doing. And I want to be allowed to have room to make mistakes and live, authentically in my craft and in myself.
Right.
But there's such a microscopic lens on you all the time. It almost has to be premeditated. But is that really real? is that really art at the end of the day? Is that really art imitating life?
I wonder if we'll ever know that question, if we're just always going to chase the answer but never find out.
I'm sure AI will help us come
Shit,
into that in
Anyways.
some weird way.
Yeah.
TeZA, we appreciate you coming through today,
Oh, love.
sharing,
Thank you for
sharing
having
your
me.
thoughts and everything, and you got the new project. Cal Nadi in the building.
I was gonna say something really nice.
Oh.
I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I'm in the building. We're here. It's episode 25,
Fuck it, that's
quarter
live.
away to 100. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you so much, TeZA, for coming. I was looking forward to this. This is really dope. You're dope. Look forward to hearing what else you come up with.
Oh, it's
Plug the
coming.
socials real quick,
Yeah,
guys.
let them know
plug them
where they can
socials.
find
Oh,
you.
man.
Where can we find you?
Everything is at TeZATalks. So
TeZ.
the TeZA TALKS. Send me a message. I love to hear from y'all. Shout out to these guys for having me. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Episode 25.
We out.
We out of here.
letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of you. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of you. We are one. We are one. We are one. I know I'm facing the demons in circles. They're right in our faces, finding the lost in the wasteland of you and love. I need love more. I'm ripping the pages together and pasted reasons through seasons. I'm finding my pieces. I'm letting go. Letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of you. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of you. Find it, you got it. Josephine, you're equally and goddess. You are honesty, you're probably undoubtedly, but company was honesty, now meant to keep the knowledge.